This is the procedure for the TLC plate lab. Due to COVID, we're skipping step one. We won't be making our own capillary tubes since that requires the use of Bunsen burners. Instead, we're going to have capillary tubes similar to what we used in the melting point lab, but this time both ends will be opened, and that's what you'll be using for this lab instead of making your own. So skip step one, go on to step two or part two of the procedure where you're preparing the developing chamber. The first thing we have to do is determine which solvent is the best solvent for developing your TLC plate. There's three things you want to look for when you're choosing a solvent and comparing TLC plates that have been developed in different solvents. You want all of the spots to come off of the baseline. So this week's lab, we have three components to our mixture. You want to make sure that you see three distinct spots and none of them are on the baseline. You want all of the spots to be separated. So again, three distinct spots. And then you do not want a spot that's running with the solvent, i.e. It is just as tall as the solvent, because you can't get an effective RF value from a spot that's running with the solvent. So you want maximum separation within the confines of not having a spot running with the solvent front and not having a spot stay on the baseline. You're going to be working with the people at your bench to determine the best solvent. So what I'm going to do, each of you at your bench will test two solvents. Some benches have two people, some benches have three. If you have two people at your bench, somebody will have to test two and another person will test three. If you have three people, one solvent will be repeated since we're only testing 5 solvents, okay? It is your responsibility to make observations and record data from each of the plates that is ran at your bench, okay? You will want to make sure that you're labeling your plates because it will be easy to get confused and forget which plate was ran in which solvent. Put your solvent, whichever solvents you and your lab partners or your bench partners decide you're responsible for, put your solvent in a 250 milliliter beaker and cover it with a watch glass or with foil. You can also add in half a piece of large filter paper. So cut that large filter paper in half, share it with another person at your bench. You can put that in the beaker to help speed up running times. Your filter paper should be moistened with the solvent, and what this is going to allow or encourage to happen is that we know liquids exist at a vapor liquid equilibrium, and so the liquid from the filter paper will actually be going into the vapor phase and helping move the solvent front on up the TLC plate. This is just a reminder of what your TLC plate in a developing chamber should look like. I would probably angle it so that I could see the TLC plate completely and watch that solvent front. They're using plastic wrap and rubber bands. In your lab book, we don't have stuff like that in the lab traditionally, so a simple watch glass that you have in your drawer will work fine. Once you've made your developing chamber, you want to make sure that it's covered because some of these solvents are very volatile and will evaporate out while you're making your TLC plates. First thing you're going to do, you're going to prepare your TLC plates for spotting. You're only going to mark the plates with pencils, and you're responsible for making sure that you have a pencil with you. We might be able to have a pencil per bench, but that's not a very efficient way to run the lab. I personally recommend wooden pencils, not mechanical pencils. The mechanical pencils have very sharp lead that can accidentally scratch off the silica layer from the TLC plates, which interferes with your ability of your plate to be developed. Another thing to keep in mind as you're marking your TLC plates, you want to use gloves when handling plates, or at the very least only touch the edges of your TLC plate, kind of gripping them in between your fingers. The oils from your hands and the whatever chemicals we may have on our hands can stain the TLC plates, and so sometimes it can be very difficult to read a plate if you have touched all over it with your hands. To mark your TLC plates, you're going to lightly sketch a line about 1 centimeter above the bottom of the plate, and that's going to be a nice horizontal line. This is what your lab is calling your origin line, or Think of it in racing terms, a starting line. You don't want to sketch this line so hard that you're scratching off that silica gel, because that interferes with the separation of your spots. On that horizontal starting line, you're going to make 2 hashes, short little vertical lines on your baseline. And this is what your lab is calling crosshatches. The crosshatches are where you're going to spot your sample. And for this first part, we're going to be using a stock solution of the mixture of our three compounds. The 2 hashes are so that you can spot your sample 1 time on one hash and then 2 times on the other hash. You need to make sure to label them 1x and 2x. You can do that underneath the crosshatch. But they ask you to observe and kind of reflect on the impact of that concentrated spot, that 2 times spotted. Should that be the method that you're using for the rest of your plates, the rest of the lab, that kind of stuff. In order to actually spot your stock solution onto your TLC plate, you're going to put your capillary tube, that dual opened capillary tube, in the stock solution. Capillary action is going to pull the liquid partially up that capillary tube, and once you have the liquid up there, it's not going to just drain out. It will stay in there, again, due to capillary action. And what you can then do is take your capillary tube over to your TLC plate and quickly and lightly touch the loaded capillary tube to the crosshatches on your origin line. You're going to want your spots to be small. You don't want very large spots. So ideally you're going for probably half a centimeter or smaller, maybe just a couple millimeters in terms of the width of your spots. You should not be draining your entire sample onto one spot. So, just quickly and lightly touch the capillary tube to the TLC plate and then pick it back up. For the hash where you're doing the 2 times spotting, you want to make sure to let your spot dry in between putting that capillary tube back down. If you don't let it dry, it's going to the spot's just going to get bigger and bigger, and you're not going to be really comparing apples to apples. You want to compare concentration, not size of spots. I always tell people, think of what happens when you're at a restaurant playing around with your straw and sucking liquid up into your straw and then dropping it out on paper towels. Unless it dries, that spot just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So here is a reminder of what our TLC plates should look like. Of course, this is missing the label for 1x and 2x under each of those crosshairs. And then the circles are from where they have actually spotted their sample on there. Notice at the very top is where they wrote in the name of that solvent. The plate hasn't been developed yet, but the top is a great place for you to put down the name of the solvents. Once you've made your TLC plates, now you're going to do what we call developing them. You're going to place them into your developing chamber, those beakers with solvents that you made in part 2. The thing to make sure of prior to completely putting your plate into the chamber, you want to make sure that the solvent level in your beaker is below the spots on your plate. Remember, this is a separation technique. While it's not something that we're using to truly separate like in distillation, we're still separating things. So you want your solvent to start at the same level and then move up and interact with your spots, with the material in your spots. If you have your spots submerged in the solvent, it's just going to dissolve all your compounds. You're not actually going to get that separation happening. Be sure that when you are sitting your TLC plate down into the developing chamber, that you're placing it in the solvent at a nice kind of 90-degree way. You want the entire bottom of the plate to hit the solvent at the same time. You don't want to rock it in, do kind of one corner and then the next, kind of dropping it in. You want everything to be even and consistent. You do want to make sure to cover your beaker. Again, that traps in the vapors and helps speed up the developing time. The thing to make sure is that whatever cover you're using for your beaker doesn't bend the plate, that your plate's not so tall that that's impacting your cover going on top of the developing chamber. You're going to want to monitor the solvent moving up the plate. You do not want to let the solvent run all the way up the plate. Instead, you want to stop your developing and pull this TLC plate out once your solvent is about a centimeter from the top. Some of the solvents that are more volatile, it's easy to get to about 1 centimeter from the top. Some of your solvents, particularly methanol, aren't quite as volatile, and a lot of times I'll let people pull that out at 2 centimeters from the top, just because it's taking so long. Once you've removed the TLC plate from the developing jar, you want to immediately draw a line across the solvent front. You're going to need that for your RF value calculations. You're then going to let your sample or your TLC plate dry.